Good morning, traders. It is Wednesday, June 11th. Here's your daily market rundown covering the US dollar index, the crude oil, gold, and the Australian dollar. So let's get into it. So starting with the US dollar index, the index held steady near 99 level after recovering from Monday's losses. And the markets are closely watching the US-China trade talks happening in London, where Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and senior Chinese officials are discussing key issues like rare earth exports. Hopes for some easing in trade tensions helped the dollar stabilize, especially after last week's jobs data, which showed moderate strength in US hiring. And from a technical angle, the dollar remains under the key psychological level of 100 and is trading within a bearish channel. The 14-day RSI is still below 50, and price action is struggling to move above the 20-day moving average near 99.6. Key downside levels to watch includes the 98.66 and 98.32. And if selling picks up, we could revisit the April low of 97.91. And on the flip side, any strong bounce back above 99.6 could open the door for a retest of the 100 psychological level. So turning to oil, WTI pulled back slightly to around 63.9 after reaching a two-month high at 65.3. The market is cautiously optimistic about the outcome of US-China trade talks, which could reduce the demand-side pressure from tariffs. And meanwhile, the geopolitical risk remains elevated, with tensions in Ukraine and uncertainty around the US-Iran nuclear deal. Technically, oil is holding up well above the $63 mark. The 14-day RSI is above 60, reflecting bullish momentum. And key resistance now stands around 65.98. A clear break of that level could lead to a push towards 66.5 and possibly $68 if the momentum holds. And on the downside, 63.26 and 62.08 are short-term supports, while $60 remains the broader support to watch. Now onto gold. Gold is hovering around 33.20 per ounce after 2 days of decline. A safe haven demand is being balanced out by the optimism in the trade talks. The People's Bank of China continued adding to its gold reserves in May for a seventh straight month, and rising geopolitical tensions, especially in the Middle East, are keeping a floor under the prices. And technically, gold has lost some momentum after pulling back from last week's high of 34.03. The 3300 support zone is critical. If it holds, the bulls could push for a retest of 3350 or 3353. A break below 3300, however, may open the door towards 3265 or even 3200. And lastly, the Australian dollar. The Aussie dollar is holding firm above 0.65, supported by positive trade headlines and improving domestic sentiment. Australian consumer and business confidence both edged higher in June, while the Australian dollar is also finding tailwinds from Chinese data and broader dollar weakness. And from a charting standpoint, Australian dollar is trading near 0.652 within an upward channel. It remains above the 20-day moving average at 0.6458, while RSI above 55 confirms the short-term bullish trend. Resistance lies at 0.6581 and then the 0.66 psychological level. On the downside, 0.6458 is your key support. If that breaks, it may head back to 0.64. So to wrap up, today's market tone is driven by anticipation, whether it is progress in US-China talks, this week's upcoming inflation data, or geopolitical tensions. I keep an eye on those key levels and stay limbo. And thank you for tuning in and happy trading.